Honestly, I must say, I came in with my expectations very low and it exceeded it. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop, recapping the All-Star race for 2025 from the North Wilkesboro Speedway, and it surprised me. 18 lead changes in this race. I heard somewhere that is the most in All-Star history. I could be wrong about that. It is definitely the most since NASCAR has been at North Wilkesboro. This was easily by far the best All-Star race in years. I'm telling you, in years. So this race, no, don't get me wrong, it wasn't all perfect. This race still exposed some of the issues with next gen. We did see some very interesting tire strategy, but you also did see, drivers that were on 40 plus lap tires were able to hold off drivers on fresh tires for a quite significant amount of time. So there were still some issues with the next gen car. There was also an issue but I think it's more or less just how the track is designed, that the outside lane is just extremely dominant. If you are able to just be able to pin that driver down, you could be on as old of tires as you could possibly get on. If you're just able to be able to keep them on the bottom, not able to get that drive off the corner, you were set. We saw that happen a lot. We saw with Brad Keselowski, he's able to do that at the beginning of the race. Joe Logano was also able to utilize that for quite some time. So there were still some issues with it, but overall thing for a race, it was pretty entertaining. Even though it had its dull moments, it was overall very entertaining, but there are some stuff we do need to talk about. Christopher Bell, my pick to win, is able to take home his first All-Star race victory. His previous best finish in the All-Star race was 10th, and he breaks a streak. The last time a Toyota driver won the All-Star race, you have to go all the way back to, I believe, 2017 in Charlotte with Kyle Busch. Since then, it has either been Chevrolet or Ford that has gone in victory lane, so he breaks that long winless streak there. Also, Chevrolet wins the manufacturer showdown due to them having the lowest cumulative points, or should say cumulative finish, between the top 5 Chevy drivers, so they take home that victory. But shout out to Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, he had a fast car, and he was always the driver that was trying to just push the tempo, was always a driver that seemed as though he was capable of challenging at first Brad Keselowski. He did slip back a little bit at the beginning, but once we got into that long green flag run, you saw he had the car to beat, especially in that long green flag run near the end of the race where Joe Logano was the race leader. Logano built up that gap, but as the laps were winding down, Bell was starting to close. Even without the promoter's caution, I felt like Bell would have still gotten the win. And we're going to talk about that promoter's caution in a little bit. So let's talk about Joe Logano coming home in second place. Now, like I said, he did lead the most laps. I think he led 134 something laps in this race today. And he was the leader when the promoter's caution came out. Now, let's talk about that promoter's caution. I did not like how Fox was more or less so focused on the caution and more or less focused on hoping that a caution was coming out. That says a lot about the race, because that was a pretty dull moment, but it says a lot more or less about Fox and then being just all about entertainment. And I get that. It's a non-points race. It's for fun. It's the All-Star race. I get that, but It to me, it just came off the wrong way, to how they were like actively promoting, like, come on, throw a caution. It's like, listen, there's still stuff happening. And they had a side-by-side for multiple laps focusing on a small box on the race and then a small box on Michael Waltrip, who was just doing whatever Mikey wants to do, and sort of trying to egg the crowd on to try and say like, hey, we're going to throw a caution. He throws a caution. Then he threw the caution, meaning he dropped the flag. Only Michael Waltrip would do something like that. He dropped the flag. I can't remember the last time that actually happened, but I swear anything with Michael, it's just chaos. When his grid walk is chaos, him with tacos is chaos. Just anything around Michael Waltrip, his phone, he drops everything that he's a mess. It was very funny, but I was also just like, oh God. Now, Joe Logano gave an interview after the race, and he was not happy at all about the gimmicks, not happy with Marcus Smith and the promoter's caution. He didn't like it at all. I have a lot to say about Joe Logano. But in my opinion, he is one of the biggest hypocrites. Not only about the whole gimmick part. First off, number one, the All-Star race has had gimmick cautions for how many years? For decades? I mean, how many years in the All-Star race have we had a caution with 10 laps to go? Right, there will be a caution with 10 to go. This has been a thing with the All-Star race. Now you're complaining, like, what's so different about it now? Because you're leading? And I understand with drivers, when they get out of the car, they're fresh off emotion. So I can completely understand that, you know, he basically lost the race because of the promoter's caution, even though more likely Bell was going to pass him regardless. But for him to say that, like, the gimmicks, you know, complaining about that, it's like, brother, the reason why you are a champion is because of gimmicks. I mean, the sport's full of gimmicks, and you've actively defended the playoffs, so I don't want to hear it. And again, gimmicks have been part of the All-Star race for since the very beginning, all right? It's all about entertainment, so that's why I really don't mind it, and he shouldn't either. I get why he's upset, but to complain about it, it's stupid. And I also had an issue with what he said about Christopher Bell, because how Christopher Bell took the lead away from Joe Logano in the closing laps with around, I believe, 10 or so laps to go. Bell used some muscle. I mean, he drove in the corner and he, you know, rubbed fenders with Logano, pushed him with the racetrack in order to take the lead. And the way Logano reacted to that, as if he got wrecked by Bell. I mean, saying, I'm going to race him the same way he races me. If I would have got back to him, he would have been turned around. And again, I understand emotions fresh out of the car, and you stick a microphone in them. Sometimes they say things that they regret. But I got to tell you, Logano, I'm pretty sure you did the exact same thing to Bell, and you've done the exact same thing to other drivers, and you've done worse things to other drivers for much more pettier things. So again, I get it. Emotions are high, fresh out of the car, but that interview just really, really rubbed me the wrong way. I did not like that at all. Like, it's just like, dude, what are you talking about? Just stop. How about Ross Chastain come home in third place? He rebounded after he spun earlier in the race after he got taken out by Austin Cindric. This race also had a pretty good amount of cautions, a far cry from what we saw the past 2 years of NASCAR North Wilkesboro. I was always under the assumption that this race, you better be a front runner. Now, granted, the driver that won the race started in second. Still, Chastain, he was at the back, drove his way up to the front. Kyle Busch, he finished in 8th place. He showed some muscle up on a restart. And that was another thing. Restarts were just wild and chaotic. You saw 3 wide, hell, even 4 wide in this race. And that's something that North Wilkesboro, you can already see, is going to have a reputation for, is that the restarts are going to be mental. It's like, because we know that with track position and how the next gen car is, you got to take the most. You got to take the advantage of having these restarts. And they did not disappoint. They were absolutely wild and chaotic and just made the race more fun. The trio of Hendrick drivers, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and William Byron, finished 4th, 5th, and 6th. The 4th Hendrick driver, and Kyle Larson, he started 19th as a result of not participating in his heat race. But he did have some issues of his own, was able to drive up to the front, even took the lead at one point due to pit strategy, taking only 2 tires when everyone else took 4 tires. But late in the race, around that whole thing with Mikey and when he was going to throw the caution, he hit the wall, broke a toe link, and he ended up finishing, I believe, 21st in this race. Driver behind him, Brad Keselowski, finished in 22nd. He started on pole, led some laps, but he got loose, smacked the wall, pretty significant contact, and was out of the race. And Daniel Suarez finished in last after he lost a tire early in the race and he smacked the wall, done for the day. It was very interesting when you look at manufacturers, all right? Let's talk about that for a little bit, because it was surrounded by Chevrolets. I mean, you look at this top 10, I mean, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, all Chevy drivers. Then you look at the Fords, Logano and Keselowski, but mainly Logano, and then you look at the Toyotas. The Toyotas, only Christopher Bell. I mean, the other JGR drivers were non-existent. Hamlin was bad in this race. Chase Briscoe was not to be heard of. And Ty Gibbs, he wasn't even in the race. He didn't make it, didn't transfer out of the All-Star Open. So Toyota drivers didn't show up. Tyler Reddick, I mean, yeah, Reddick, he finished 7th, but he was just largely unheard of. And it was quite a shock because he was fastest in practice, actually, I might add. But that did not translate at all to Sunday. I mean, it was really the only Toyota driver that showed anything was Christopher Bell. It was just like he was in no man's land. He was just all by himself, surrounded by Fords and Chevys. So overall, what would I give this race? Honestly, I'm giving this an 8. This it blew away my expectations. Again, there are still some issues with, if you look at the pylon with around 49 laps to go, very little variation in the lap times. Again, that's just something that we're gonna have to keep on hearing, is that we can do better. We can do better. But I must say, my expectations were very low heading into this race. It blew it out of the wire. So this gets 2 thumbs up, 8 out of 10. I very much enjoyed this race. Now, one thing though that was very interesting with Fox is that when Fox was interviewing the other drivers of Jamie Little, Regan Smith, they were all interviewing, the different drivers. They always kept asking, would you like to see a points race? And that was kind of the theme heading into this weekend even. I mean, the booth was talking about, could North Wilkesboro host a points race? Yeah, Christopher Bell saying North Wilkesboro is the best short track on the schedule, and I agree with him at the moment. I mean, North Wilkesboro definitely put on the best race with a lot less laps compared to Bristol and Martinsville. But it was interesting that they were all asking them, hey, do you think North Wilkesboro should be a points paying race? That more than likely would lead me to assume that for 2026, something with North Wilkesboro. It was kind of like an announcement before the actual announcement. The way they were just asking everybody, all the drivers, do you think North Wilkesboro should be a points paying race? Do you think it should be? It was kind of like, basically telling the public, hey, there's a great chance North Wilkesboro will be a points paying race. And I am for it. 400 laps, middle of the afternoon, I am for it. Because the thing is, we got this type of race with 23 cars and a lot less laps and gimmick cautions. Well, granted, we still have stage cautions, but if you 400 laps and now you have a 36, 38 car lineup, lap traffic, now we could be talking about something. Now it can get real interesting. So I definitely am fully on board with a points paying race at North Wilkesboro, and I think it wouldn't be the greatest amazing, but it would be very good. And I feel like it would be the best short track race on the NASCAR Cup schedule in terms of points paying races compared to what we have right now with Bristol and Martinsville. So overall, I really enjoyed the All-Star race, was very entertained. And you know what the best part about the All-Star race? After that, I just realized, good riddance, Fox. Bye-bye. Adios. All right, bye-bye. It was nice knowing you. Not really. But we have Prime this weekend. Then TNT would end up with NBC. We don't have to deal with Fox, at least for the Cup side, until 2026. That is lovely to hear. But what are your thoughts on the All-Star race? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you not? As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.